From this lecture onwards, we will discuss module 4 topic. In module 4, mainly we will discuss the new concept which is known as the sequential circuit. Okay. In third module, we already discussed the digital circuit known as the combinational circuit. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the sequential circuit. Here you can see the main difference between a sequential and a combinational circuit. In the sequential circuit, there will be some extra modules. There will be inputs and output, and he can see that one combinational logic is involved in this sequential circuit. And another extra module that we are using in sequential circuit is a memory element. Okay, so there is a storage element. Okay, we are using a storage element in sequential circuit, and here you can see a feedback circuit. Okay, the output is fed back to the input side through this memory element. Means the combinational circuit will produce an output based on the input and the previous state, and previous state means the past outputs, okay, which is already stored in the memory. And another important point that we need to consider in sequential circuit, the involvement of a clock signal. So in order to synchronize the operations, we are using a clock signal. Clock signal means it's a square waveform, and this is square waveform, and there will be on time and off time. Okay, logic high and logic low level. Okay, so it's a repeating waveform based on the clock signal. So there is a timing circuit actually. So based on this timing, the output is changing. Okay, so please note down all these extra components that are involved in the sequential circuit. And in the case of combinational circuit, there is no feedback, there is no memory element. Output at any time depends only on the present input. That's a combinational circuit. But in the case of sequential circuit, output at each time depends on the input and the previous states. So for that, we are using a feedback circuit and the memory element. And all operations are controlled by a clock signal. So we'll call it as a synchronized device. Okay. And this is another point we need to consider. As standard logic gates are the building blocks of combination, just like AND gate, OR gate, NOT gate, etc., or NAND, NOR, etc., are known as the basic building blocks of the combination circuit. But in the case of the sequential circuit, the basic building blocks are known as latches and flip-flops. So now we need to consider about what are the different types of latches or flip-flops that are used in sequential circuit. So the basic building blocks in sequential circuit, latches and flip-flops. Now just compare the sequential and combinational circuit. A feedback is involved in the case of sequential circuit, but there is no feedback in the case of combinational circuit. Output is based on the present as well as the past input. That's known as the previous states. Okay, they are already stored in the memory element. Okay, but in the case of combinational circuit, output at any time depends upon the input present at that instant only. Okay, and the state is updated based on the clock signal. Okay, so there is a clock signal in the case of sequential circuit, and there is no clock involved in the case of combinational circuit. Now we'll discuss the syllabus part. Okay, now you got an idea about what do you mean by sequential circuit. I already mentioned there are different building blocks. They are known as latches. Mainly we are discussing 4 types of latches: D, G, SR, and JK. So there are 4 types of latches or flip-flops we'll discuss in this particular module. And what are the characteristics of all these flip-flops, and the terms related to these flip-flops. And also we'll discuss some Verilog codes for implementing the flip-flops. And after that we will discuss the application part. Okay, application of flip-flops or the practical circuit used. So they are known as counters. Okay, and another module that we are using, the registers, and again different types of counters, and finally the Verilog codes to simulate the counters. Okay, that's all about the syllabus part. So in the first lecture we will start with one flip-flop that is known as the D flip-flop, and very specifically we'll discuss about edge triggered. This is mainly because we are using in the practical side, we are using the edge triggered flip-flops. Okay, and different terms related to this, truth table, excitation table of D flip-flop, state diagram of D flip-flop, how we can predict the output of D flip-flop, the practical IC which used to implement D flip-flop, and difference between D flip-flop and D latch. So also we'll introduce the latch concept. Okay. So flip-flop means it's a bistable device. Okay, bistable or multi-vibrators means, so if you consider any circuit, it's a digital circuit, either it can produce logic high state or logic low state, or we can say logic 1 or logic 0. So bistable means this particular circuit can produce a high. Okay, for example, this is the logic high state and it can continue in that particular state. So this is considered as a one stable state, and if you forcefully change, the state can go to another state, that is low state. Okay, so that's why the flip-flops are known as the bistable device. So two stable states are there. Okay, we can change the position by applying some trigger signal or by applying some inputs. We can change, otherwise it will continue in the state. If it is 1, it will continue in the same state, and if it is 0, it will continue in the same state. Okay, if you apply some inputs, the state can be changed. So it's also known as multi-vibrators, and it's also known as a synchronous bistable device. Why it is called as synchronous means the output changes states, that is 0 to 1, only at a specific point of the triggering input called clock. Okay, so based on the clock signal, the output is changing. So that's why it's known as a synchronous device. So here you can see some clock signal. So this is a square waveform. This square waveform is normally will consider as a clock signal. So if you consider any clock signal, the different sections of this clock signal, this is a logic high level. Okay, this part, okay, this part is known as logic high level, and the lower portion is known as logic low level. So two level. Okay, and here you can see there's a transition from 0 to 1, and this 0 to 1 transition is normally we will call it as positive edge, or we will call it as a rising edge. Okay, and another point, this is 1 to 0. There's a transition from 1 to 0, and this 1 to 0 transition point is known as a negative edge, or we can call it as a falling edge. Okay, so based on this high level or low level, or based on the rising edge or based on the falling edge, the output of the system changes. That's why known as a specified point of the triggering input. So this is a triggering input. It can be high, it can be low, it can be rising edge, it can be falling edge. Okay, so these are the different triggering points of this particular clock signal, and that's why it's known as a synchronous. And very specifically, an edge triggered flip-flop means the output of flip-flop changes only in the rising edge and falling edge. So first we will discuss flip-flops based on this edge triggering concept. Okay, so there are two edges, positive edge and negative edge. Okay, and inputs are sensitive only at this transition of this particular portion. Okay, so the device will monitor the input signal only at this particular transition point. Now we will discuss the first one, edge triggered D flip-flops. Okay, and another name for D is D latch or delay flip-flop, so or data flip-flops. So that's why it's known as the D is used for this flip-flops. Okay, this is one of the flip-flops. A very simple term is a D flip-flop. So another version of this D flip-flop is known as a D latch. Okay, that we will discuss later, and delay flip-flop also, or we can also call data flip-flop. Okay, that's why the first name letter is used D. And this is a basic structure of D flip-flops. So there will be input input data line. So this is D, and it contains two output line, Q and Q bar. Okay, and here you can see another point that's known as a clock signal, and here you can see the symbol triangle. So this symbol is actually used to indicate this particular flip-flops will operate in the positive edge trigger or a rising edge clock. In order to indicate this particular flip-flops will operate in positive edge trigger or rising edge, we will use this particular symbol. Now for the negative edge, we will use a bubble also. So this is a bubble symbol. Okay. So this is for falling edge. And we know that from this particular definition, Q output of a D flip-flop assumes the state of the D input in the rising edge of the clock, or it can be the falling edge, or it is specific in itself. The edge triggered, it can be either rising edge or in the falling edge, or it can be also used to store a single bit data. Okay, now we'll see what's the working of this particular flip-flop. So assume that this particular flip-flops operates in the positive edge clock. So I can indicate this positive edge clock like up arrow, and assume that the D input is 0. Okay, D input is 0, and assume that the present state of this particular Q state of this particular flip-flop, that is assume that initially the Q value is 0. So the present value will indicate as Qn, that is Q output, and this is Dn actually. So 0. And what will be the next state? So after applying the clock signal, what will be the next state? So in the case of D flip-flop, this value is equal to 0. Okay, because Q output of the D flip-flops will be same as the state of the D input and the rising edge of the clock or falling edge of the clock. So we'll consider another case. This is again a rising edge. Assume that there is a rising edge clock, and the D input is 0, but the present state of this particular flip-flop is 1. Okay, but the output of this particular flip-flop will change to 0. Okay, because the D input is 0, so the next output will be 0. Okay, and now we'll consider another possibility. Assume that the D input is 1 and the present state of the flip-flop is 0. Okay, present input of this particular flip-flop is 0. So there is a clock signal and the input is 1, so the next state will be 1 because Q output is same as D. And this is another possibility. Rising edge, input is 1 and the present state is 1. So the present state is 1 and the D input is 1. Because of the D input is 1, the output is equal to 1. Okay, so these are the four different possibilities that you can consider in D flip-flop. But if the clock signal is 0, okay, if the clock signal is 0, whatever be the input, if it is 0 or 1, so we'll put it as 0, that is 0 or 1. Okay, and if the present state is 0, so there is no change in the output, it will continue the previous state, so that is 0 itself. That is if there is no clock signal, output will not change, so 0 will continue in the next state also. And similarly, if the clock signal is 0 and then there is no importance for this D input, so if it is 0 or 1, that's why we'll put it as a don't care condition, and assume that the present state is 1, then there is no change in the output. It's exactly same. So we can consider the first two cases. Okay, the output is 0, so we'll call this particular state as a reset stage or reset stage. And in the next two cases, the output is 1, so we can consider it as a set stage or set state, and there is no change, so we can indicate as no change in state. Okay, so these are the different combinations of D flip-flop, and this is known as the truth table of the D flip-flop. Okay, so we need to cut this particular truth table, and now we can See the different possibilities. Okay, the same thing. And instead of writing all these value, I can very simply write the truth table of D flip flop without considering the clock and log. See, if the D input is 0, the next state is 0. Okay, if D input is 0, next state is 0. If the D input is 1, next state is 1. If D input is 1, next state is 1. So very simple terms you can write input and next state. Okay, if the D input is 0, the next state is 0. D input is 1, next state is 1. So this is very simple form of truth table. Okay, it's very easy to remember. Okay, this is Qn plus 1, not Qn. Okay, there's no importance for Qn. Okay, if D input is 0 and if there is a clock, output will be 0. If D input is 1 and the clock signal is 1 or rising or edge, the output will be 1. Similarly, in the second flip flop, it's a falling edge triggered flip flop. And instead of this rising edge clock, we need to indicate the falling edge clock. That's only difference comes in this particular truth table. If it's a falling edge triggered D flip flop. Okay. Now we'll discuss another concept that is known as the excitation table. When you discuss any flip flop, you need to consider main two parts. One is the truth table and another one is the excitation table. And here you can see the difference between excitation table and truth table. An excitation table shows the input that are necessary to generate a particular next stage when the current state is not. And truth table means is the input output relationship. Okay, simply the input output relationship we can see from the truth table. Excitation mean is also similar to that, but the concept is different. And here in the case of excitation table, we will find the required inputs to generate a particular change in state. Okay, for a given change in state, what should be the input? Okay, that's a concept used in excitation table. So we will discuss that. So this is the truth table of D flip flop. We are familiar with that. Now I'll write the excitation table. So here input, present state, next state. Now he can see that the present state and next state. So in order to occur a change from 0 to 0, that is Qn is equal to 0, and you are getting a Qn plus 1, which is also 0. Okay, after applying the clock signal, you are again getting 0. And in order to get or in order to occur such kind of change 0 to 0, what should be the D input? So from the truth table, you can identify that. So in order to change from 0 to 0, the D input should be 0. So you can write D input is 0. Next one, the present state is 1 and the next state is 1. That is Qn is equal to 1 and Qn plus 1 is changed to 0. So in order to change, what should be the D input? So we can check here. This is one present state and next state is 0. So to occur this particular condition, the D input should be 0. So D input is 0. And next possibility, again 1 to 0. Sorry, okay, not 0 to 1. Okay, in order to change from 0 to 1, initially 0, now it is changing to 1. So in order to change from 0 to 1, you can see that the D input should be 1. So in order to change from 0 to 1, D input should be 1. And next Qn is 1, next state is 1. So 1 to 1, there is a change. So what should be the D input? So that is 1. Okay, this table is known as an excitation table, but normally we'll write in the sequential order. So we'll write 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So that will be better. Qn, Qn plus 1 and D input. Okay, to get 0, 0, it's 0. From 0 to 1, D input is 1, and 1 to 0, it's 0, and 1 to 1, it's 1. So this concept will be better for the excitation table. Okay. So here the values are not written in the sequential order, but you can use this particular sequence 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Okay. So please correct it. The same thing, but the order is different in this particular table. It's not wrong, but this second table will be better when you do the problems. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Okay, corresponding values for the input. Okay, this is known as the excitation table. And next we will discuss the state table and state diagram. Okay, this is another concept. The relationship that exists among the inputs, output, and present state and next state can be specified either by state table or state diagram. Okay, it's almost similar to your truth table. So in a state table, we'll write the present state, that is Qn, and the D input. What should be the next state, or what will be the next state? Okay, that is almost similar to your truth table. Present state, D input, and next state. So present state is 0 and the D input is 0. So output will be 0. Present state is 0 and next state is 1, and present state is 0, D input is 1. So next state will be equal to 1. Present input is 1, D input is 0. So next state will be 0. And present input is 1, so not present input, present state, present input is 1 and next state is equal to 1. So all these tables are similar, but concept-wise different. Okay. And now we are discussing the state diagram. What do you mean by state diagram? Okay. So this is a state diagram of a D flip-flop. I'll just explain what do you mean by the state diagram. So there are actually two states. Okay. One state Q can take a value 0. Another state of this particular flip-flop is Q is equal to 1. Only two states. So we can indicate two states here. And if this is one state, so this is state 1 and this is state 2. Q is equal to 0 and Q is equal to 1. And you can expect two possibilities here. So present state is 0 and the input is 0. Okay. This is Q is equal to 0 and the D input is 0. Okay. That is D input is 0. So what happens? If D input is 0, next state is also 0. So is again going back to this state. Okay, if Q input is 0 and D input is 0 means we will again go back to the initial state. Okay, so there is a small correction here. This is not 1, this is 0 actually. And the present state is 0 and the D input is 1. So present state is 0, that is Q is equal to 0, and the D input is 1 means it will go to the next state, that is 1. So it will go to the next state if D input is 1. Okay. And now we can consider the present state is 1, that is Q is equal to 1. Okay. Q is equal to 1 and the D input is 0, that is D input is 0. D input is 0 means it will go to the 0 state. So the Q is equal to 1 and the D input is 0 means it will go to the Q is equal to 0 state. And next possibility, Q is equal to 1 and D is equal to 1. Okay. D is equal to 1 means it will maintain the same state. So you can write like this, D equal to 1. Okay. This is the state diagram. So you can develop a state diagram if you know the truth table or state table. So from this point, you can also write a characteristic equation of a D flip-flop. So what will be the Qn plus 1? So in the case of D flip-flops, the Qn plus 1 is exactly equal to Dn. Okay. So if you look at this particular table, so we need to write an equation for Qn plus 1. Okay, we need to write a Qn plus 1 equation in terms of Qn and D. So we need to write Qn plus 1 in terms of Dn and Qn. So these are the input. So we need to predict the output. So here you can see that this is 1 for the possibilities Qn bar and D input. Okay, or we can put it as Dn, the end state. And another possibility is here is equal to 1 when Qn is equal to 1 and Dn. So these are the two min terms. So you can write Qn Dn plus Qn Dn. So we can take Dn common. So it becomes Qn bar plus Qn, which is equal to 1. So we can simply write Dn. So that's why Qn plus 1 is equal to Dn. So this is a characteristic equation of D flip-flop. So if you know the truth table or the state table, you can simply write the next state equation. And next state equation is known as the characteristic equation. Okay. This is also very important in the characteristic equation. In the case of D flip-flop, next state is exactly same as the D input. So that's the meaning. So Qn plus 1, it's simply D input. See, there is a D input, D input, D input, D input. Now we can consider one waveform and how we can find the output of a D flip-flop. Okay, so this is a positive edge triggered clock. So this is positive edge triggered flip-flop, and this is the truth table of the flip-flop. Okay, a simplified truth table. And positive edge means the output of the system changes only at the rising edge, or the input is sensitive only at this rising edge. Okay, and this is the clock signal. So this is a clock signal applied to this particular flip-flop. Now we can see a random D input also. Okay, assume that this is the D input. Okay, it's high, low, and some point changing, and we need to find out the Q output. Okay, what will be the Q output? Okay, so now we can discuss that. We know that the input is sensitive only at the rising edge. So okay, this is the first rising edge point. At this particular point, D input is 1, so your output will be equal to 1. Okay, I can show you the waveform and then I will explain. So this is the output waveform of Q. So we can explain this particular waveform. See, at the rising edge of this particular clock, the input D input is 1. So the input is sampled, though input is equal to 1 means the Q output will be 1, and it will continue in that particular state like this. But you can see that the D input is changing at this particular instant, but there is no change in the Q. See, if D input is 0, we mentioned that the next state is 0. If D input is 1, next state is 1. At this particular point, the D input is 0, but the Q output is 1. Why? Because there is no change in clock signal. So the output changes only in the rising edge of point of this particular clock. So if you want to change the if you want to expect any change at the output, only at this particular rising edge of the clock. So this is the first rising edge clock, this is the second. So at this particular point, the D input is 0, so the Q output will change to 0, but don't expect any change at this particular point, because there is no rising edge clock. So rising edge clock occurs only at this particular instant, so only at that time we can expect some output change. And this is the third rising edge of this particular clock. Actually, at this particular point, there is a change in D input, but there is no change in the output. It will continue in that particular state, and the output will change only when there is a rising edge clock. So here you can see a rising edge clock. At this particular instant, the input is 1, so output is also 1. Okay, and again it will continue. You can see that again there is a change in input at this particular point, but there is no change in the output. Output will change only in the rising edge. At the rising edge point, the input D is equal to 0, so output also changes. Okay, this is the D flip-flop working. So you need to identify what will be the Q output for a particular D input. Okay, so when you study this particular truth table, it's confusing, because when it D input is 0, we will assume that the output is 0, and the D input is 1, output is 1. But this output change occurs only when there is a rising edge clock. If it is a flip-flop which triggered on the positive edge or rising edge clock. So D flip-flop captures the value of D input at a definite portion of the clock cycle, such as rising edge in this particular problem, and the captured value becomes a Q output. At other time, the Q output does not change. So okay, so we can consider as a D flip-flop can be viewed as a memory cell or a zero delay line, because if you are not you can see that this particular one will maintain for a clock duration, and if you are not applying any clock, it will continue in this particular stage. Okay, there is no change. And if you are applying, that's why this is known as a memory element. It can store a particular value for a one clock cycle duration in this particular case. Okay, and it will store that particular one. Here you can see that the input side at this particular instant, input is 0, so it can maintain that 0 for a long duration. Okay, even if the input is changing, it will maintain the previous state. Okay, that's why it's known as a memory cell. Now we can consider another waveform. It will operate in negative edge triggered clock. So this particular clock is a falling edge or negative edge clock. So you can see the clock signal here. Okay, this is the D input, and now we need to plot the output waveform. So in this particular case, you can see that this is a negative edge triggered clock. So we can expect a output change only at the falling edge of the clock, and at other point there is no change. So if you consider assume that initially the Q value is 0. Okay, initially the Q value is 0, so it will be 0. And in the previous case, the output changes for the falling rising edge, that is at this particular point. But in this particular circuit, this is a falling edge clock. So this flip flop is sensitive to the falling edge. So the falling edge comes at this particular instant. So at this particular time, the input is 1. So output changes to 1. And it will continue like this. Okay. But there is a change in input at this particular point, but there is no change at that particular instant because there is no falling edge. And it will continue like this. And when it reaches the second falling edge, the input is 0. So output also changes to 0. But you can see that there is a change in input, but it will not reflect in the output side. It will continue like that. And this is the third clock cycle, third falling edge. At that particular instant, the input is 1. So output changes to 1. And it will continue like this. There is a change in input at this particular instant, but there is no falling edge clock. So it will continue like this. And fourth clock cycle, you can see that the input is 0. So output changes to 0. So this is the Q output. And similarly, there is a Q bar also. Q bar is simply the opposite of Q. So if you want to plot Q bar, it's simply like this. Okay. Q bar will be just, made a mistake. Initially, if Q is equal to 0, Q bar will be 1. And when Q is equal to 1, Q bar equal to 0. Okay, it will be like this. And just opposite of Q. Okay, 0, 1, here it is 1, here it is 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. Okay, that's the only thing about Q bar. Just opposite we will get in the Q bar. Okay, the same thing, D flip flops capture the value of the D flip flop at definite portion of the clock cycle. Here in the case of falling edge, and captured value become the Q output. Another time Q does not change, the same thing. Now we can consider another waveform. This is again a rising edge clock signal. Okay, this is a D input, and you can see how the output is changing. Okay, so this is again a rising edge clock. So these are the rising edge of the input clock, and corresponding output we can identify. So this is the D input, and it at this particular point D input is 0, so output will be 0, and it will continue like this up to the next cycle. So here you can see 0, the input is changing actually from 0 to 1, but that change is not reflected at the output side, and it will continue like this. At this particular instant, again there is a sensitive point. It will check the input side. So input is 1, so output becomes 1, and it will continue like this. But there is a change in input, but it will not reflect at this particular instant. And at instant 4, it will check the input, that is 0, so output is changed to 0. At this particular instant, there is a change in input, but there is no change on the output. And again, at 6, you can see that the input is 1, so output changes to 1. Again, you can see that there is a change in 1 to 0, 0 to 1, and again 1 to 0. Okay, but here you can see that the output is maintaining at 1. Okay, it's 1 because there is no rising edge, so it will not change the output. Now we can see that here it is 0, so output will change. But here you can see that at this particular instant, input is changing from 0 to 1 and 1 to 0. But when at instant 10, the input is 0, so it will continue that 0. Okay, that change from 0 to 1 is not reflected output side because it's continue in that particular state. because this particular flip-flop will sensitive only for the rising edge clock. The same thing. So now we'll discuss a D-latch and what's the difference between flip-flop and latch. It's again similar to the flip-flop. The operations are similar to D flip-flop. True table and everything is same. To stable state, and it also can be considered as a temporary storage device. But the main difference between the latches and flip-flop, how the states are changing. Okay, how the states are changing. And in previous cases, we discussed flip-flop with edge triggered, but in the case of latch, the output is level triggered. That is when there is a positive high signal, high level in the clock signal, the output will change. Okay, so we can check this particular waveform. So this is a clock signal, and if it is a latch, it will sensitive to the positive part, or it can be negative also, but in this case this is a high level triggering. So high level triggering use in this particular question. So the positive signal. So you can see that there is a rising edge at this particular point, but this particular flip-flop is not indicated as a rising edge or a falling edge. So it is simply a level triggered. So when there is a 1, there is a change in output. So at this particular instant, the input is 0. Okay, the output is also 0. Okay, and you can see that when the input is changing, okay, during this positive time, this is high level, output is also changing. Okay, but after this particular point, there is a negative part. This is a positive positive level triggered flip-flop. So in this particular duration, there is a change in input, but there is no change in the output, because this particular flip-flop will sensitive only in this duration, positive high. So next high will occur in this particular duration, and if there is a change in this particular duration, it will reflect at the output side. So you can see that there is a change. This is the negative side. So during the negative side, there is no change. Okay, and again it will continue. Actually, there is again a change in the input side during this negative part. Okay, but it will not reflect at the output side. Again, there is a positive edge at this particular instant. Not positive level starts at this particular point. So at that time, what will be the input that is reflected to the output side? So you can see that is also changing here. Here also it's changing. Okay, this is actually latch. Latch is basically operating on this level triggered manner, and you can see the rising edge operation also in this particular waveform. See, actually, if it is operating as a edge triggered D flip flop, here it is a rising edge. During the rising edge, the input is equal to 0, so output is 0. It will continue like this, and it will not bother about the changes in the input side up to the next rising edge. So this is the next rising edge. During the next rising edge, the input is high, so output is high, and it will continue like this, because in the third rising edge, again the input is high, so it will maintain that particular state. Okay, you can see the difference between rising edge edge triggered flip flop and falling edge high level triggered latch and edge triggered flip flop. Okay, so you can compare these two waveforms. Similarly, there is flip flops which operates in the low level triggered. So this particular flip flops will sensitive only during the negative portion or a low level portion. Okay, low level triggered and high level triggered. So this is another output waveform we can monitor. So again, a level triggered one. So here you can see that when the input is high, okay, you can say this is a D input. There is a change in D input. So 1 to 0, so it will reflect at the state. But there is a change during the negative side. So but there is no change in the output. Again, during the positive half cycle, positive side, the input change, so it will be reflected at the output side also. and again during the positive level, there's a change in the input that is reflected at the output side. So this is a level trigger. Okay, D-latch. Okay, this is the edge trigger. Okay, edge trigger occur only at the rising edge portion. So if it is a rising edge clock, so there is a change occur at this particular instant. So it will continue like this. When it reaches the second rising edge, again the input is 1, so it will maintain that particular state. When it reaches to third, there's 0, so output changes. So you can compare these two, level triggered and edge triggered. Okay. And if you consider the flip-flops or latches, there will be some standard signals other than this D input and clock signal. So other than this clock signal and data input, there will be other two signals. They are known as preset and clear. And these two signals are used to maintain some output at the initial stage. See, when you start the operation, we don't know what will be the output values. It can be 0 or 1. But forcefully, you can make the output is equal to 0 for the initial condition. Okay. Initial condition, either I can make 0 or 1. So to make it 0, I need to use clear signal. In this particular case, if the clear signal is equal to 1, output is equal to 0. Okay. And if the preset signal is equal to 1 initially, okay, then the output is equal to 1 at the initial stage. Okay. Later, the outputs are based on this data pin and the clock signal. But initially, you can change, or at any instant of time, if you apply a proper preset signal and clear signal. So normally, these signals are asynchronous in nature, because without applying any clock, the output will change. Okay, because asynchronous input, at any instant, this preset or clear signal is activated, the output will change. There is no importance for this clock when you compare to preset and clear. When you buy a standard standard flip-flops ICs, normally you can expect two extra control signals, preset and clear. This can be active low preset and active clear signal also. That is, it can be clear bar. Means when you apply 0, the output will be 0. And the preset also active low. So when you apply 0, the preset will be 1. Okay, that kind of signals are also available. Okay, they are normally asynchronous, means it will not wait for the clock signal. There are synchronous preset and clear is also available, but most of the cases preset and clear signals are asynchronous in nature. They are also direct input. So this is one practical IC which used as a D flip-flop. So if you buy a 17474 IC, it contains two D latches. So you can see the D input clock signal, and this is a clear signal and preset signal, and clear and preset signal are active low signals. So when you apply active low 0 here, the Q output is equal to 1. Okay, and if you are applying a active low clear signal at pin 1, your Q output is equal to 0. Okay, and similarly, you can use two flip-flop in this particular IC. All other pins are familiar: D, clock, Q, and Q bar. Similarly for the other flip-flop. Okay, there are some other ICs are also using for practical application, that is 7475, 273, and CMOS ICs are also available. Commonly used one 7474. Okay, it contains a preset and clear and some modification. It's a quad D type and this octal D type, so you can expect more number of pins and all. Okay,